Hey, what's up, Sandy? How's it going?
Hi, Michael. Yeah, it's going
We
great.
have,
It's the holiday season, so we're running and running and getting a lot done. And yeah,
all right,
exciting time.
nice. We have a special guest with us, Dr. James Bernison. James,
Hey
how's it
guys,
going?
I'm doing well. It's nice out here. We're having a beautiful day in Southern Oregon.
Nice. Is it normally like that?
Always like that, but don't tell anybody. We don't need anybody to. No one's grow. We like it where we're at.
Yeah,
Nice. Awesome. Awesome.
that's awesome.
James, real quick, if you can let us know the name of your practice and a little bit about your past, your present, how'd you get to where you are today?
Sure, yeah, it'd be my pleasure. So I started today's dentistry back in 2019, and I purchased that practice from a different doc. He's awesome. The purchase transition went amazing. But before that, I grew up in St. Louis. I went to dental school in Kansas City and then moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico. Was there for several years working in a little pediatric practice and then moved here to Oregon because it's got the mountains, it's got the coast, it's got everything we want. So we literally Googled best small towns in America and then found a practice for sale in that town. So
Nice.
love it. We've been here for about 5 years and just really enjoying things.
Good stuff. Today's dentistry. So then, real quick, if you can break down to us some of the, I guess, throughout the time you started practice ownership 5 years ago.
Yep, correct.
What's been some of your struggles or pitfalls throughout the time?
Wow. So it's 2023, right? So about
Mhm.
5 years ago, it was fun. Things were going great, 2018, 2019. And then this thing happened called COVID.
Yeah.
That was wild to be
Yeah.
a recent practice owner and kind of trying to figure out and navigate how to deal with COVID. But we made it. I mean, it worked out. And I think part of that is really the relationship that we have with our patients. It's like the most important thing that we have. And, I've worked and when I graduated, I worked for Heartland Dental, which is a great dental service organization. I really have nothing but good things to say for them. They trained me really well. I was able to learn a lot of good business side of things as well as a lot of good clinical CE. So I really enjoyed it. And then when an opportunity came to work with a good friend of mine, I wanted to go that route, have some fun there. And it was just absolute a blast. We laughed every single day and just enjoyed everything that we did down there. And then I wanted to do a little bit more on my own and kind of take it a step further. And so we decided to kind of really knuckle down and find a practice that's going to get me just kind of excited about the work that I'm doing. I really wanted to get into implants. I wanted to get into just family care and being able to do as much as I could. And now we're doing another little venture. We're going to try and start doing a dental assisting program as well. So
Very
Wow.
good.
we embrace change. It's a good thing.
That's a good
Mhm.
thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
when you do that, when you have programs like that, it's a lot easier to fill your positions in your
And
office.
it's nice. You can kind of pick the ones that you like.
That's right. That's right. I've been around a lot of practices that have done that and been very successful. So I want to know more about how you implemented an in-house membership plan. But actually, what I want to know most importantly is why did you do it? Why did you decide to do it?
So you heard me talk a little bit about that relationship with my patients. I think that's critical. Okay, so we had a membership plan in the office. When I bought the office, they had a membership plan, but it was really convoluted. Reading the book on it or reading the little pamphlet made me it just sounded like an insurance company, and I hated that. I wanted it to be something easy and something simple that patients could do and just know what they're getting. But the reason, like you said, the why behind that. So I really love the relationship with the patients that I had.
Is it fair to say you were interested in retaining the patients that you
Yeah,
had?
yeah, totally. And this is how you do it. Like you'll either have relationship driven patients or you have transactional patients. I think everybody has those. You have some patients that are looking for the most affordable dental care, and you have some that are going to stay with you for a really long time. And I wanted to kind of provide an opportunity for them to fall in to be the patients that are going to stay a long time. And that's where the relationship comes. And when you have a membership plan, it cuts out that third party, whatever we call it, dental benefits or dental insurance or whatever we want to say there. It cuts that out. And you don't have any limitations. You don't have any pre-existing clauses. So you just have the doctor and the patient.
It
When-
cuts down on upsets.
Oh, yeah. Just so much extra. It cuts out on the front desk time dealing with those insurances. It's just patient-doctor relationship, and it's so great.
I'm on the same page with you. I totally agree. And I hear, in fact, I was just having a conversation with a practice yesterday where they were trying to deal with a patient who was upset because they said, this is what your insurance is going to pay, and the insurance didn't pay it, and all of that. So anybody listening, you have reality on that. Totally.
That's the one thing. I mean, if you look at the studies that are done about insurance and patients don't leave the practice because of the doc or the treatment. They leave because they had something go wrong in their account, right? They didn't understand the finances. Something didn't go right. They didn't
get money. Yeah.
That's the number one reason. So I wanted to make that as simple and clear cut as possible.
Yeah. Also, it has a lot to do with upsetting the relationship, but the financial aspect also, broken appointments. If all of those things are unexpected and not laid out, that causes more broken appointments. People don't realize that, but it does. Now, I have another question for you, because I had a doctor talk to me this week. Okay, they was looking into Plan Forward, because I've, as a consultant, I'm very familiar with other ways to track the in-house membership. I mean, when I saw Plan Forward and heard about it, I was blown away. Yeah. And so that's why we're here today doing this, and we want to share with our group, and we want to hear your story. But I had a doctor that I was talking to that is a fee-for-service practice. Now, are you a fee-for-service practice?
No, we're about 50%. I think we're leaning more towards about 60-40 now.
Okay.
Actually, I think about 60-40 is where we were at whenever I just did a little assessment a while back.
So so is that 60% fee-for-service?
50 fee-for-service, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's good to know. So this particular doctor wants to build his practice. So he's looking for ways to build his practice, but he doesn't want to accept plans. I was telling him about Plan Forward, but for him, he's like, he doesn't want to give 10% away. Okay. What do you say about that? What do you say?
I was at that spot. So what you do is you figure out, your UCR fees, you adjust your master fees appropriately so that you are fine with whatever discount you're giving to the patient. Now, Plan Forward's great because they can help you figure out what discount you want to give to the patients, whether it's 20% or 30%, good grief, or 15%, whatever you want to do, they can tailor the whole thing. So if I'm okay with my patient paying me $80 for a $100 service, then I have no problem giving them that, 20% discount. So the doctor's in charge of making this master fee schedule, whatever they want to make it. So if they still want to retain their current fees, that sounds great. Raise all your fees by whatever you want to discount, and you're already there.
Okay. So that's what you did, and it worked for you.
Oh my gosh, it worked amazing. It worked amazing. Yeah.
What did patients say when you raised your fee?
Yeah. So the fees hadn't been raised in a really long time.
Okay. So it was due.
And so they there was a little bit of balking around it at the initial, but you can break it down. And that's the other thing that they do is they help you see what they're actually getting, and you can see what your discount really is. So patients, they see the value in that kind of an appointment and those visits that they had.
Good. Yeah. I like that. How long have you been working with Plan Forward?
So I met Megan Lohman in, I think, October of 2020.
Okay.
And she was great. We set up, we started looking at things. They sent me some spreadsheets to kind of figure out what I wanted my pricing at. And that's when I realized that my office needed a little bit more help. And so I called Megan and said, I'm not even ready to do this right yet. I've got to figure out my master fees. I've got to figure out what I want to charge even, because that hadn't been adjusted in years. If I figured that out, I called her up. I said, I think I'm ready to go. And then it was just easy onboarding, ready to go, easy reporting. And, if you're the kind of doc or the kind of person that wants to see those spreadsheets and wants to see those numbers, you don't trust anything. You're going to do your own spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Right? So I did that for a couple months. And then I realized it's all going real well. And so now I know where to just kind of keep a pulse here and there. And I don't have to really freak out about it too much because they just do all of it for me. It's really convenient. I mean, takes a lot of the stress out of it. So before, what my team would have to do is they'd have to keep track of what patients coming in for which appointment, which visit are they on, how's that working? Are they still in the plan? Are they outside of the plan? Did they want something refunded because they didn't get something? It was a nightmare. Just a nightmare.
And when to charge the payments?
Oh my gosh.
And just tracking that.
Yeah, come on. So for me to come back from COVID and say, we have a new plan, and your plan can actually be a monthly fee that's so much more affordable for patients than having to pay the entire fee. We were having patients pay the entire fee, like yearly. And so they get hit with a pretty good sized bill every other visit. And I don't think they like that, especially the older patients that are on a fixed income. They don't like that. So
you're saying to the listeners, just to be clear, like if your patients could actually pay by the month.
Absolutely. If they want to, they can pay everything up front for a year. But monthly payment plans are so much easier for patients, especially whenever we have an economic downturn, depending upon who you talk to
And the software is tracking this.
the whole time. If a credit card expires, you get a notice. If they didn't make a payment, you get a notice. And it's easy. It's not one of the software programs. It's difficult to learn. It's so easy to use. The front desk is able to really get after it pretty quick.
So let's just say, okay, I'm a patient in your practice. I want to sign up. Tell me how that works.
Okay, so then it's cash, check, or charge. So if they want to sign up, we have the way that we tailored it for our plan forward was we said, well, there's an initial fee to sign up, right? And we charge that $49.99. Now, if they pay for the whole year, we waive. You don't need to try to get anything extra from them. But it's always good to get an initial fee if you're doing monthly, because sometimes those patients will skip out or whatever, few and far between, but kind of covers you a little bit. So then once the patient's up front, they get presented their treatment plan. Now for our office, it's based on their periodontal evaluation. So if a patient has rip-roaring periodontal disease, I'm not going to give them an option to get the plan that's just 2 propies a year. It's not what's for them. It's specifically tailored for their diagnosis. I think they like that. That way, they know that this is what they pay for and this is what it's going to be. And we have it all broken down from what the old plan was to this plan and how much they really paid. And it's really easy for a patient to say, I can pay that per month. And I know that I'm getting 4 periodontal maintenances or 3 periodontal maintenances or 3 in an SRP that's going to get 15% off of the SRP. So whatever they want to do, we can get them signed up for, but it's always based off their diagnosis. Insurance and dental benefit companies don't do that, right? They just say, here it is. We'll figure it out. And we'll probably limit you on what you get for benefits. When you don't have any benefit limitations, it's really nice. And you can say, this is your diagnosis, and we care about you. You're part of our family. It's bigger. It's better.
Yeah.
How big is your practice? How many hygienists do you have?
We got 3 hygienists. They basically all work full time. Jill would love to tell you that she's part time, and she's been working a lot of Thursdays. So I work about 4 days a week. So it's 12 hygiene days a week. Is that right? 3 times 4 is usually 12. And then we've got 3 ops on my side in the consult room that we use a lot. And it's just me and those 3 plus a few assistants and my wonderful front desk team. So we're busy and it's fun. It's great.
Nice practice.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because that reminds me that because they're on the dental plan, they'll schedule out, and you're packed for 6 months on the hygiene side. We have to literally schedule out blocks and not schedule people in there to put the new patients in.
Wow, great.
We're averaging about 20 to 30 new patients a month, and that's been pretty much the last 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm. That's bad.
Busy.
Do you market your plan forward?
So we pay marketing. Our marketing budget goes to Google, and then a locals article guide. It's called the Locals Guide here at Ashland. And it's just a tiny little newspaper with mostly real estate ads and that kind of stuff. And you'd be shocked that this little town paper is real. It's not dead here. So people read that all the time. And that's basically our 2 things that we get a lot of calls based off. I saw that if I don't have insurance, you can help me out. Yes, we can. So
yeah, no, that's perfect. Real quick, James, if I can ask, how much has this boosted your profits?
So our profits have been really just totally on the upward trend. Obviously, 2020 was crazy, but after that, we had a 16% increase in our production following year, which was amazing. And then we had 2022 was a little bit less. It was like 3%. And then 2023, we're looking at about 10% increase in our production. So we're really darn close to hitting that $2 million mark in our production. That's kind of my own personal goal. I want to get to 2 million just by myself and then start looking for an associate. But
yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's really good. And then I wanted to ask real quick, because I know we see this all the time. Sandy can attest to this, where people are like, start your own plan, right? Like, just do it yourself. You can do it yourself. It's easy. Get an Excel sheet, right? And then they kind of even break it down. I think there's even courses where it shows you how to do it on your own too.
They can totally do that if they have a notebook and they want to keep track of everything by themselves.
Yeah.
So
you almost need a staff member to do that.
That's what I wanted to ask. Like, how did you transition from that? How did you, like, for example, mindset? How did you go like, okay, I'm going to pay more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For this, everything to be.
Right.
How did you do that?
It's a return on an investment, right? It's like whatever I'm paying towards Plan Forward, which is just a couple bucks a patient a month, it is peace of mind that I have all the forms, I have all the records, we have all the transactional receipts and histories. It's just so much easier to not have the front desk focusing on that. And they can be focusing on effective scheduling and working on building our systems and helping our new patients have a good experience. It's just one more thing that they don't have to really worry about.
It makes sense.
And it make dollars too. Yeah.
And I wonder, like, your new patient flow now compared to before.
Yeah. And we've changed that a bit too. We specifically only schedule a maximum of 2 new patients a day. I see one right before lunch and then one right after lunch because I really don't want anything hard going on. I want everybody to be finishing up and closing down and a little bit quieter, a little bit more time to see them first. Like this is a little bit outside of the Plan Forward realm, but because we decided to do it based off their diagnosis, I'm doing all the original perio charting. I'm sitting down with this patient for the first time. I'm going through everything from their orthodontic history to any restorative needs, to their periodontal diagnosis. And I think that docs that don't take all that into consideration and do that with the patient themselves stand to have a little bit better relationship with those patients if they start doing that. Because the patient feels like they've had enough time with the doctor to really be a part of the office.
Right. They get a feel for things.
Yeah, totally.
So do you think, I'm going to ask you this question, do you think having this membership plan through Plan Forward has helped increase your new patient flow?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, without a doubt, because they know that if they don't have insurance, that we've got their back and they want to, they want to get it done. It's like they have this desire to really feel like I think it's because they feel like they're in charge of their health, have them a lot more ownership of it instead of being at the whim of whatever their benefits pay.
Yeah. And do you put it on your website? Anything about this membership plan?
Everything from the pamphlet to what are the options. And some patients come in, they're like, I want this option. I'm like, well, you've got perio, so you're not getting that option. And that's all about understanding. Once they understand the value of what they're getting, once they understand why we do it that way, it's super.
Oh, yeah. I do have another question. What about, can you specify if there are any procedures that you don't want to include in the plan?
I can totally do that. Now, I decided, again, I'm going for simple, right? So everything that we do here at the office is included in the plan. But I've got friends that are on the plan that say, you know what? I'm not going to put my Invisalign in there. That's fine. I'm not going to put implants in there.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can totally say,
I like that.
What you don't want as part of the plan. Easy to do. Yep.
Okay. I like that because I'm thinking of a practice that I know that he does a lot of hybrids and things like that. Very interesting.
Does that make it the plan more affordable, James? If they're like, I don't want implants, I don't even see the purpose of that. I don't need Invisalign, but I just need cleanings.
If somebody comes in healthy, the plan's super affordable. You're still going to get a good discount from the actual fees of the treatment if they were to pay them a la carte. So they would just join the plan and then have a couple cleanings. But the benefit of that is that they also get limited exams or emergency exams at no cost. There's no deductible. Come in for a limited exam. Let's take a look and see what's going on because they're part of the plan. Anything that's out there that you're a member of, you really feel like you're a part of it, right?
Right.
You're a Costco member, you're like, I go to Costco. Sam's Club member, you're in. And you're going to fight with your Costco or Sam's, I guess. But if you're a member of your science museum, you're going there regularly. If you're a member of the botanical garden around you, you're going there. You're taking advantage of those options.
Yeah.
In my plan, limited exams for free or a free iTero scan every year or whatever, then they're like, this is real. And
they see the value. Yeah. And they become loyal patients and they stay in your practice. I see it totally. I'm a believer. Okay. I'm a fan.
And it's the same thing, it's crazy how many people are just sucked into Chick-fil-A or Disney or Apple, all those things. It's like they got a cult following almost. So, you can do it and it's so easy to implement.
That's me. I'm Chick-fil-A and Disney and Apple. I'm all those things. Yeah.
Because they're easy to use. It's so simple to use them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say my pleasure at the end of the time. Right? I guess.
Yeah, so the biggest advantages are, to me, what I see, and you guys can add to it but to me, it's taking, because I'm about the schedule and getting the office productive. It's like taking a lot of extra work, admin off of those front office team members and let a software do it. Okay, this is, let's say 2024, right? And my goodness, it's time to let the software do it. Quit
No.
carrying around the folders. I've seen the folders. So it's like, these are just our plans. So that's a huge advantage. And then I think getting the patient retention, those are the things like that I'm really interested in, is making the front more efficient, retaining more patients, more predictability, less upsets. I'm sold.
The secret sauce is really the hygiene department. Once docs realize that that's the way to get your office profitable. If you have a way for patients to lock in that second visit, third visit, fourth visit of the year, and they're on the plan and it's covered, they're going to sign up and get scheduled.
What about broken appointments? Do you have any stipulation in there about no shows or anything?
My no-show fee is kind of separate from Plan Forward, but I guess I could do that. I mean, the thing about Plan Forward is you can really change it whichever way you want.
Right.
So one thing I decided was when we started this plan out in 2022, I said, okay, we're not changing the plan fees till 2025. And I said, we're not at all changing that. Now people can do that. You can totally change your fees every year. But I said, I'm not changing it to 2025. And I let my patients know that. And even if I do master fee schedule, incremental, raising it just a little bit every year, I know what that realm is and I know where I'm going to be at 2025. And so at 2025, whenever we do raise it, we're going to say we haven't raised it in 3 years. And then you're set off to just go again for a little while.
I love it.
Again, one of the things, my personal why, I like to contribute. I like to contribute to big organizations. I like to help people improve their lives. The way I do that, my how, I'm under Simon Sinek a little bit, but my how is I like it to be simple. Like as simple and easy to use as possible. And then the reason for all that, the what, is I love to build relationships. Like that's just my thing. So
that's why you're so successful. And a lot of people never get that. Believe me.
Like understanding your why, understanding how you do it and what you're doing really.
That's huge.
Megan and Jane really helped me figure that out. So Megan Lohman and Jane Levy are just amazing at heading that up. They're just fabulous.
Yeah, those are the folks that, for the listeners, those are the folks that plan.
I should actually say that they're not paying me to say this either. I just really like using it.
You've had a lot of success and you're excited about that. And that's fabulous.
And I really think that it doesn't really matter the size of your office. The return on the investment for what you're paying for them to do, for you to get back, it's so much better.
Yeah, let's get some offices signed up. So listeners, if you're a team member or an office manager and you're listening to this, make sure your doctor listens to this, okay? Send them the link and make sure they listen to this. If you're a doctor, Michael, we can offer something to these listeners, right?
Yeah, actually, Plan Forward. If you mentioned dental drill bits or dental gumbo, 60 days for free. So if you guys want to go in the show notes below or in the description below and check that out, definitely check it out. But like James was saying, it works. Right, James?
It does. I mean, I'm blown away. It is success. And there's many others like you.
Yeah. I've got some of my buddies working on it right now here in town. And it's kind of funny because, you're not supposed to talk about like what you're charging in different places. So sometimes we do a little corporate, see what they're charging for their costs. Whenever in 2025, when we go to change some things up, I think, we're looking at a couple other options. We're looking at some veterans benefit options. We're looking at senior benefit options, seeing if we can expand that plan out just a little bit more and kind of help our patients out. And you can do that. Tailor made for your office.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. Awesome, James. Thank you so much for allowing us to pick your brain and speaking more on this topic. We really, really appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, totally my pleasure. It's been fun.
Yeah. And at the same time, Sandy, any final pieces of advice or words that you want to mention?
Just for the listeners to take action. Take action. Don't just hear about this fabulous thing that can help you grow your practice and retain patients. And oh gosh, we didn't even mention the higher treatment acceptance. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Just do it. Just learn more about it. It doesn't cost you anything to try it out. And I think you'll see a big difference in your practice success.
Awesome. So guys, if you want to talk about this episode, come on the podcast or submit any questions, then you can do so by joining the Facebook group Dental Gumbo. And you can ask us questions, concerns, and you can talk to James in there too as well. So definitely go ahead and do that. Click in the show notes below, the first link in the show notes below, if you want to check out Plan Forward and the deal that they have just for you. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you in the next episode.
Bye, everybody.